Right there, geezers, Jules here from FGS. And you know what? As much as I love video games, the industry is in, and let me just check my notes here, a bit of a f***ing state. Because as much as I absolutely want to champion games and their devs when something revolutionary hits the market, we are collectively absolutely besieged with what I will term as the badness. Now, the badness takes many forms. Spiraling costs leading to developers being shuttered despite releasing critically acclaimed titles, predatory microtransaction practices, horrendous grinds with little respect for player time or agency, and of course, my personal favourite, publishers being so out of touch that they make this face when you've just told them that you don't want to pay 70 quid for the title at base and then 100 more each month, per month, every month for pay-to-win components. They make this face. Ew, are you poor or something? Ew, get this man out of my mansion, ew! Treat us like peasants sometimes. And you know what, in fact, it's this greed, this unrelenting quest for cash that we're going to be looking at today. As trust me, my friends, it has ruined many a great game and has cut the legs off other titles before they've even had a chance to stumble out of the gate. So let's have a rather depressing chat today. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are video games ruined by greed. And you know the drill, this is the Deep Cut with Jules Gill, baby! So of course we're going to be talking about games that have tried their best to fly under the radar of both infamy and decency, but I caught a whiff of their stinky practices a mile off. So don't go expecting to see the likes of, I don't know, like Battlefront 2, Dead or Alive 6, whatever one we're on now, Apex Legends or whatever the hell Metal Gear Survive was. Jesus Christ, remember that? No, my friend, we're going to forget all that, move on, find something deeper and far more greasy, because we're going to start by talking about NFT video games. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a double thumbs up. Sick. So what better / worse place to start on this tour of terrible business decisions than by looking over the absolute desolate wasteland that is NFT games. I mean, just look at it, friends, an endless barren husk of a world where nothing grows and only horrific mutants roam the landscape, howling in blockchain. Crypto! Crypto! My baby for a crypto! But wait a minute, what's this? That's no metaphor, that's Decentraland, the game in which you build NFT houses and then sell them for less than you paid for it, because shock horror, this was a pump and dump squirt fest that lasted less than a hot minute. If you bought into this world builder, you are going to be sitting pretty on land that you can't even give away at this point in time. All the while, the investors just skip merrily on their way with your hard-earned cash. The idea of using NFTs in video games is such an unrelentingly horrible practice, it is hard to put into words just how uncomfortable it makes me feel. But to give you a slight insight, imagine going to a movie screening with your parents, right? Okay, but the film in question is them having sex on top and your mum giving birth to you on bottom, kind of like Subway Surfers style. Yeah. But you know what? I've got to give games like Axie Infinity and Battle Racers and other NFT bollocks like that and their actual due, because you know what? They're not scams. Despite what the gaming public, the world at large, and that little voice in the back of your head that only pops up when you're about to make a terrible decision tells you, because you know what? They do give you exactly what you pay for. Absolutely nothing. Ah, well, at least certain games like Ships That Fight Underground that try to use the Descent lineage of games to shill NFTs had the rug pulled on themselves when the money invested into the blockchain partner by the devs resulted in an alleged $700,000 going missing. It is hard not to laugh. But you know what? I'll try. You idiots. And you know what, here's the bonus twist to this entry. If you personally went into a video game like this trying to sell NFTs and make a quick buck and you got your scam done to yourself, well then there you go. You got done over by greed. You ruined the game for yourself and everyone around you. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about how nearly every Xbox One game was ruined by greed. Okay, so this might read like a huge sweeping statement, but seriously, we came this close. No, actually, this close. I'll tell you what, they came even this close to Microsoft bungling their share of the video game industry, kind of like how they're doing in 2024 now. You see, back before the Xbox One dropped, alongside the hype for the new console specs and features, there was a statement put out by Microsoft that they were likely hoping would fly under the radar concerning a secondary installation fee. Now, this fee revolved around the idea that once a game was installed on your console's hard drive, you wouldn't need to put the disc in each and every time to boot it up. And this would, in essence, free up the disc for resale or to lend to friends. Therefore, when it came to being installed on a second console, this would create a potentially endless loop of borrowing and free installation, and Microsoft just couldn't have that happen on their watch, so they proposed a secondary installation fee which would kick in on your mate's console or whoever bought that second copy of yours. Therefore, without asking anyone, Microsoft would have stuck their nose into the second-hand video game market and snorted up a small fee without having any right to do so, seeing as this was a problem loop that they themselves were going to create. It was as clever as it was greedy, marketing the no-disc installation as a boon while setting up the second-hand game market as a prime source of micro revenue. Thankfully, the internet caught wind of this and kicked up such a stink that the feature was never implemented, but for a time, there was a truly spiteful edge around Microsoft that seemed pulled right out of, I don't know, EA's playbook. Right then, let's move on and talk about Tales of Phantasia Mobile, but my God, I don't want to. Right, so we're gonna do a bit of roleplay acting now, so play along, okay? Why, hello there, friend. Do you like spending money? You don't? Well, I mean, that just my entire routine. Come here, mate. Can you just, I asked you to help me out, all right? Just go along with it, okay? Cheers, right? What's that? You do like spending money? Well, how would you like to spend a few bucks each and every time one of your characters dies and you want to revise them in an RPG? You wouldn't? Okay, seriously, man, you are ruining my buzz right now. I'm over it now. I'm over it. Just forget it. Forget the entire production. Pull down the curtains, pull down the stage. That's it. Send the audience away, Mark. Send them away. We're done here. And all that's left is a chance to talk about Tales of Phantasia Mobile. Yippee. Now here's the thing, if you've played the original Tales of Phantasia, you might leap at the chance to play the game again on your handheld devices, as in its purest form it is just that, a brilliant take on the RPG formula with lovable characters and a nifty battle system. But uh-oh, here comes Bandai Namco to stick their greasy orbs in your face and disco thrust their way into your wallet, because yes, it's time to talk about the Miracle Orbs, an item that resurrects your fallen party members for the low price of $2 a time. And that's right, friends, each time you drop, you are given the opportunity to pay real-world money for another go, and if you don't, you kick back to the last save you made. Now at this point, you probably think to yourself, ah well, it's just a bit of time I've lost. I mean, starting from the last save can't be that bad, right? Right? Well, my friend, what if I were to tell you that before releasing this revised classic on mobiles, Bandai Namco did some tinkering and removed save points before boss battles and made the trek so arduously long as a result. Oh, and they also fixed the difficulty to the game's hardest mode with no way to change things. Cool. Now, I believe that there's a sound effect that would be perfect for this exact moment. Mark, if you would, play the Roblox oof sound. And make sure that the royalty fee goes to Tommy Tellerico, the original person who made that sound effect. Wink, 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 H-bomber guy, wink. This is the worst type of greed, as it not only ruins a game for a new generation of players, but actively punishes long-term fans who dared to hope that they'd be able to play a classic like this without chugging down a good old dose of corporate oil. May I have some more? What do you mean it's force-fed and I don't have a choice? Okay, this is a personal beef that I'm about to air right now. Any game that is recommended by Seth Fisher, you should avoid. Now, this might seem like a bit of a weird title at first, but trust me, my friends, when you learn more about Seth Fisher, who he is, what he does, and more importantly, what he said all the way back in 2014, you want to view this man's recommendations list like a personal what to avoid like the plague. I say this because Seth is an investment banker, which is our first big ooh on the bingo card, soon to be full of them, and his love for money rivals Scrooge McDuck. He's also a fan of video games, or at least to the extent that they can make him and his company Oasis Management, which deals in hedge funds, a metric shedload of cash. And this is why in 2014 he penned a letter to Nintendo begging the company to invest more into the mobile gaming market, as Nintendo as an IP could stand to profit heavily on the spend-heavy player base that makes up that let's just call it what it is, hive of scum and villainy. And to really hammer home the point, Fisher stated, just think of paying 99 cents just to get Mario to jump a little higher. Let that sink in. That's the type of thinking that Fisher and his team would want to inject the gaming landscape with, and worryingly enough, it's exactly the type of mindset that some modern games are running with, charging the player to do absolutely everything possible in the name of making a quick buck. Therefore, apologies, Seth, for singling you out a little bit here, but at the same time, that mentality, that thinking, and indeed your thoughts can be shoved right up your investment tailpipe. And I tell you what, if I see you championing a game or Oasis management anywhere near a title, I will be walking in the opposite direction for how fearsome and slimy I know the microtransactions will be in that game. Oh, I tell you, my friends, we are rich with bad examples today, aren't we? But I tell you what, why not make better use of your time and spend it wisely by subscribing to the FGS YouTube channel? We make daily gaming content. There's the Deep Cut with Jules Guild, baby. There's also Discover Something New, where we bring you brand new indie titles that you need to know so much more about that may not be on your horizon. And we generally just have a big laugh. So come on, join in the fun, my friends. I tell you what, you're richer with friends. And money, obviously, but I can only give you one of those. It's not money, by the way. Okay, time to get depressing. Let's talk about Warhammer Chaos and Conquests. Okay, gang, I won't lie to you. This next one really hurt me deep, and in fact, the deep cut in this entry is the one done by the fact that speaking ill about Warhammer causes me physical pain, and yet I must make you all aware of just how truly awful and desperate for cash Warhammer Chaos and Conquest truly is. For a start, it's a mobile game, so you should really be setting your standards so low that they belong in Satan's basement. And yet, Chaos and Conquest finds a way to go below and beyond when it comes to just being utterly sweaty in its pursuit to make you open your wallet. Now, it's a standard base building and defense title which is so devoid of personality that it might as well just be an asset flip from one of the 1,000 other titles that form this uninspired subgenre, and promises the player the joy, the thrill, the unrelenting hype that is sitting around and waiting for timers to fill up so you can build upgrades to your fortress or your units. Woo! Sign me up for a good old bloody sit down watching paint dry. Bring a friend! It's awful here. Now, of course, there is a way to speed up all of this downtime, and that is by spending real-world cash on the many types of currency in this game, each of which is more nebulous than the last, but somehow always seems to be in short supply when you need to upgrade something. Fancy that. And hey, here's a fun little twist. At points, the game near forces you to go and pick on weaker players so that you can gain influence in an area and build your wealth, but in reality, is a sales seminar delivered to both parties in order to get them by offensive boosts and shields for the weaker player to survive the onslaught. And I say onslaught, but seeing as there's next to no battle animations, you'll be staring at a static view of your camp way longer than you'll be seeing action. So not even spending money to get out of the pummel hole experience that is survive against stronger players will net you anything close to a satisfying time. Add to this terrible sound design a chat feature that limits you to something that early Twitter would call too short, and the fact that the game doesn't even alert you to the fact you're being attacked half the time so you can just enjoy those mounting losses, brother, and you get a game that just doesn't even try, making it one of the worst Warhammer experiences I've ever seen, outside of my friend Rapid dropping a Forge World Hierophant outside of Firestorm and watching one of its smashed legs go down a drain. That was truly painful. This, though, close second. Right, let's move on and talk about the offensive state of the skins marketplace. So, as I covered with the almighty Ash Millman a few weeks ago in our combined deep cut on the subject, video game skins are a big deal, and honestly, some of them are utterly bonkers, not for their design, but for the sheer amount of cash that you need to pony up in order to wear them. Skins have become a display of wealth that only reaches new levels of offensiveness with each passing day, and one could put down a deposit on a house, or dare I say start a Warhammer army with the cash that you get for some CSGO gun decals. And of course, this has a knock-on effect to the surrounding communities. It just turns them into a toxic swamp that is horrible, utterly horrible. I mean, take avatar customization platforms like Gaia Online and Solia Online, which charge you to change everything about your avatar, and even offer players the chance to buy tickets for thousands of dollars, which allow them to request new items or changes to accessories already available. Now, this creates a microeconomy worth millions that carries an underlying poison, that if you don't look good, if you've not spent enough, then you're not worth knowing. Or what about Mech Warrior, where you could buy a gold skin for your mech for $500? Yeah, that's right, with 2 zeros, those being the absolute nothings that paid money for and sold this skin respectfully. I'm sorry, what world are we living in where this is just dropped onto the marketplace willy-nilly and was championed for a short time, at least by the devs, as a good thing? These designs take next to zero time to upload and implement, yet have huge ramifications for players who have already spent a ton of disposable income on the base game, only to then be poverty shamed into spending cash to keep up with trends. It's a cornerstone of FOMO. It encourages gambling because of the sheer money these things go for, and of course it promotes online bullying and harassment, none of which I'm okay with, and neither should you be. And so let's close on the Ballad of Ant Simulator. And so we close on a game that wasn't just ruined by greed, but was obliterated off the face of the planet along with the friendships of the devs involved. Ant Simulator on the surface looked to be another silly addition to the goofy simulation games that we've come to grow to love, and if implemented well, could have been fondly remembered today, like, I don't know, Power Wash Simulator. But sadly, this was not to be, all thanks to some of the developers using all of the project's Kickstarter money on, and I quote, booze and hookers. Now, to be clear, the total sum was around $4,000 to $5,000, and even with this being back in 2016, I don't think inflation would make this into a week-long bender, but still, that's beside the point, as it utterly destroyed the relationships between the key minds behind this game. Diversion of Kickstarter or crowdfunded money is a scummy thing to do, but to be so utterly brazen about matters and then leave your supposed friends in the lurch to deal with the fallout, well, that's truly reprehensible. Yet sadly, this was the case for Erica Terashinsky, who not only had to put out the statement concerning the abuse of funds, but was also told by her ex-teammates that if she were to go ahead with releasing Ant Simulator, that they would sue her. Furthering the point, Erica commented that her ex-friends also covered their asses by making sure the drinks and meals could technically be written off as business expenses, so she had no leg to stand on legally speaking. The betrayal of both Erica and the public at large is a horrible example of base human greed overtaking what was, in Erica's own words, an 11-year friendship, and is a painful reminder that good friends do not always mean good business. Yet it's not all bad news. Erica still makes games, and you can check out her VR game Jet Island, which looks like a bloody blast to play. So still, not a great ending, but at least she's doing okay. And there we go, my friends. Those were video games that were ruined by greed. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on the social medias here, and my lovely editor Mark over here on his social medias as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke about how horrible greed is as a concept, you know what? We can definitely be a little more hoarding of one thing in life, and that is to be kind to ourselves, because we deserve love, success, happiness, all the good things that a human being on this planet does rightly deserve. Okay, so treat yourself with that love and kindness, and most importantly, respect, because you are a big ledge and you bloody well deserve it. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome, and never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.